Here's what we're talking about today here on The Now. Have you ever done the old face filter challenge all over social media? And it may look fun, but we have why you should be thinking about your privacy as well. And acupuncture could be the newest solution in the opioid crisis. We're looking into the trials starting now to give people an alternative for managing chronic pain. And as more states legalize marijuana, there are new questions about safety for all of us on the road. We're with the team trying to get answers on this.
Chris, thank you so much. I'm Rafael Sanchez in for Amanda, and this is a Now Indy on RTV6. Deadly violence is one of the biggest issues facing Indianapolis. So the city is trying to empower community groups in the ongoing effort to curb crime. Today, Mayor Joe Hogsett and the Office of Public Health and Safety awarded $300,000 in violence prevention grants to grassroots organizations in Indy neighborhoods. This year, 5 community organizations will each get $60,000. That money will go to programs to help keep people off the streets, help people released from jail, re-enter society, and provide health resources for those who would not be able to get them. In more local news, a suspect at a break-in at a Columbus home in Bartholomew County is now under arrest after he dropped his wallet at the scene of the burglary. According to a report from Columbus police, someone burglarized a home on Pearl Street on Tuesday morning. The homeowner said about $4,000 worth of tools and other items were stolen from the garage. The homeowner told police that he found a wallet near the scene of that crime. Police said officers found the 24-year-old Columbus man whose wallet was at the scene of the burglary. Investigators say the man was passed out inside of his truck in the parking lot at the Cambridge Square apartments.
Let's take you outside and check out the view looking south over Indianapolis. And you can see a few of those cumulus clouds building up, and we've got a couple of isolated downpours, but the rain coverage a lot less than what we had this time yesterday afternoon. And really our focus is starting to turn here to more of the heat. And we're just easing into this right now. Our temperature in downtown is 89 degrees, but it feels like we're in the middle 90s because of all that humidity that's in the air. It feels like 97 in Muncie, and your temperature 90 degrees right now in Lafayette. You can see a few of those isolated downpours, mainly over the eastern half of central Indiana, a couple in Hamilton County, also around Greenfield. These will continue to move through, could bring some brief rainfall and also some lightning with a few of those, a few more that are developing south of Nashville and Columbus. We've got canal nights happening at the Indiana State Museum there. If you're going to be heading out, just a toasty one for you. Isolated shower chance with those temperatures in the lower 80s still through 9 o'clock. Tomorrow morning, we are going to start off in the low to middle 70s. We'll talk about the excessive heat coming our way in just a few minutes. Chris?
Let's start the Now News feed. El Chapo will spend the rest of his life in U.S. prison. The Mexican drug lord sentenced in New York today. He is expected to head to Colorado's federal Supermax prison. The ACLU is trying to block a Trump administration rule on immigration. The rule blocks people from seeking asylum in the United States if they've come through another country first, which means those coming from Central America would be ineligible. Lawmakers taking another crack at stopping robocalls. A House committee passing a bill today to block more robocalls by using better call authentication technology, and now heads to the full House floor for a vote. Well, today a grieving father told Congress his life has no meaning after his family died in a crash involving Boeing 737 MAX plane. Corey Rangel spoke with him about what he wants to happen to make flying safer.
I miss them every minute of every day.
Paul Giroge painfully told members of Congress about his family's final moments on board a Boeing 737 MAX plane.
My wife and my mom-in-law knew they were going to die. They had to somehow comfort the children during those final moments.
His wife and 3 children, the youngest just 9 months old, all died when their plane crashed in Ethiopia just 6 minutes after takeoff. Today, he told me, he's haunted every time he flies, including on his trip here to D.C. to testify.
Every time I'm flying, I look at my watch to see the 6-minute mark, and I want to see the altitude as well to see at what point do we get to 8,000.
Paul blames Boeing and the FAA for the crash that killed his family, which came just months after the same model of plane crashed in Indonesia. He wants the 737 MAX 8 plane recertified and wants pilots to go through required training. He also hopes Boeing executives face criminal charges.
Can we trust Boeing again? Maybe, but this executives should resign because they killed 346 people.
Just minutes before today's hearing, Boeing announced it will spend $50 million to help the families of those killed in both crashes, and its CEO and president issued a statement saying the lives lost continues to weigh heavily on all of us at Boeing, and we have the utmost sympathy for the loved ones of those on board. In Washington, D.C., I'm Corey Rangel reporting.
And you just feel for him and all those families. Corey, thank you. Well, your social media is likely covered in pics like these today. The Face App Challenge has people using that filter that makes them look really old. While it's fun, we do have why you should think about your privacy before you do it, too.
At Papa John's.
Welcome back to the Now Indy. A bit of downtown Bloomington and Indianapolis coming to Columbus. The City Council gave unanimous approval for Pedal Pub of Bloomington to operate in Columbus. The open-air electric pedal cabs, or pedal pubs, they can seat up to 16 people. The cab will be available to groups on a reserved basis and should be up and running by late August. In addition to the cab, city leaders say electric scooters could be in Columbus by the end of this year, but only after the Columbus City Council draws up and approves regulations for scooter use.
Well, your social media has likely been bombarded with pictures of your friends looking really old. But it turns out that this viral trend, it may not be so innocent. Jace Larson with the security warning.
Everybody appears to be doing it. So just how bad can it be? Well, some users are finding several things that are fishy with Face App. Obviously, you need to grant the app permission for it to access your photos. But after you use the app, it doesn't appear that it fetches the photos from your phone. Instead, when you tell the app that you want to upload a photo, the photos will start to slowly load one by one. App creators who are not involved with Face App say that's because the app is actually fetching photos from a server or a cloud, which means your photos have already been uploaded somewhere. And that leads us to this. The app automatically gives itself permission to access your photos. When you use the app, it actually sets itself to the read and write option. That means the app will have permission to view and replicate your photos. So how much of this is actually happening? Well, that part's unclear. The data is uploaded to a server that appears to be in the United States, but here's why one tech expert says he's not going to be using the program.
It's unclear where the processing is happening. It does appear that the photos themselves, the images, are stored either in the United States or in Australia. But the processing, the application of this artificial intelligence algorithm to the photos looks like it might be happening in Russia, on the servers in Russia.
Internet security experts find that alarming. The app maker is based in Russia. Think about how some of your photos aren't just of you or your face. Sometimes there's screenshots of important financial information. And then there's also this in terms of the terms of service on the app. By downloading the app, you're giving the company permission to use any of your photos, and they can technically copyright your face.
Hey, good warning, Jace. Thank you. Let's get back to our lineup. And the future of space exploration is getting new attention as we just marked 50 years since Apollo 11. Imagine seeing a picture of the universe of billions of years ago.
That's very different than what we did during Apollo. I like to say this is bringing Silicon Valley to the moon.
We'll take you to the lab developing special technology to do just that.
Come in for great deals now.
Let's start the news feed. Great moment here. Look at this video of people rescuing whales near a beach. Georgia beachgoers rescuing about 30 pilot whales from beaching themselves. Experts think the whales became confused and that's why they were just too close to shore. Well, never give up on learning. New research says the brain has the ability to function well in old age if you continue to learn. And researchers aren't just talking about several games of Scrabble. The study looked at people who put themselves in a college-like atmosphere in their 70s and 80s. Uber is going beyond rideshare. The company now rolling out what it calls the Cargo app. It actually aims to be a convenience store right in the palm of your hand. You'll be able to buy several items, things like luggage, even makeup. It is an app that only works during an Uber ride. Those items then are shipped to your home free of charge. About 100 different types of hummus products sold across the country have been recalled due to a possible health risk. Pita Foods issued the voluntary recall. It affects hummus made between May 30th and June 25th of this year. The FDA found traces of listeria in the company's facilities. Now, this impacts hummus brands, including the Harris Teeter store brand, Pita Pal, Schnucks, and 7 Select. You can return them for a full refund. Well, imagine being able to peer into the cosmos to shortly after the Big Bang. Our Chris Welch has an inside look at a robot being developed for a mission to the moon to build a very unique telescope. It would allow us to see billions of years into the past.
These undergrads are using some seemingly simple mechanics.
It's just an Xbox controller.
For a prototype lunar rover that could help us understand the origins of the universe.
This is the antenna module.
It's part of NASA's new Artemis program, which will once again send astronauts to the moon. The plan includes building a mini space station, a gateway as it's called, that would orbit the moon.
That's very different than what we did during Apollo. I like to say this is bringing Silicon Valley to the moon.
Astrophysicist Jack Burns runs the Network for Exploration in Space Science at the University of Colorado Boulder. He's working with students to develop this robot for the far side of the moon.
That far side is radio quiet. So it's the only place in the inner solar system we can put a radio telescope down and listen to the hydrogen emissions coming from the very first stars and galaxies in the universe.
Once deployed on the moon's surface, the robotic rover, controlled remotely, would position 128 antennas, all connected to each other. Working together, the antennas will be capable of receiving frequencies from a